Hey folks, Ron here. Hope everybody's well today. Today, I'm doing a backup, a house. Well, let me scratch that. I was going to do two houses today. I'm only going to do the one I was going to do second. The one I was going to do first was Adam Sandler's house. He actually has two houses, kind of almost side by side here in the Riviera section of Pacific Palisades. But there's security out in front of the larger one, and it's really not a gate. All you see is shrubs. I think there's doing some construction too, but the security is definitely sees me going back and forth. And I'm going to wait till another time to do it. He let a small woman, what I mean by small, like short in stature and kind of hunched over with a lot of black wearing. He let her in. Don't know who she is. Scott Sandler, his brother's on title, but apparently it is where Adam Sandler resides, at least some of the time. So I'm going to do Rod Serling's house, which is just down the street here. This area of the Pacific Palisades, the Riviera section, is very exclusive, very beautiful. I love it. It's probably my favorite area in Los Angeles. I like it, I think, even more than I like Beverly Hills, and it's a lot closer to the ocean, too. But anyway, this particular area is home to a lot of celebrities. I've already done Kurt Russell's house here. If you look at my other videos, I saw and talked to Kurt Russell just for a minute before I did it. Of course, I didn't let him know that I was doing a video of his house, but he happened to be out front loading a camper or something in the middle of the week. I guess they were going somewhere, him and Goldie. Anyway, tree line, beautiful streets here. And there's just Sugar Ray Leonard's house is here, who I did, and Randy Newman, the singer-composer. And by the way, we've got vlogs on all these. And let me get away so I don't get killed here. Who else? We've also got, right here, just off the top of my mind here, the Carol Landis house was here that I did. And also, oh God, so many people. Ben Affleck is here. Matt Damon just finally sold his house here in this same neighborhood. So it's quite impressive. Celebrities want to live here for a reason. It's kind of between Brentwood and the ocean, coming up to the former Rod Serling house. And what's really interesting too is, boy, if these walls could talk, this is where Rod Serling wrote most of his Twilight Zone scripts. So he lived here in the late 50s, early 60s. Interesting, because I would think that Serling, I don't know. I mean, you don't know about, an individual, but you only know their reputation. But I kind of think that Rod Serling would like to sequester himself in a big apartment, like on Wilshire Boulevard, with security that kind of reminds him of the East Coast, but I guess not. So as you can see, there's a lot of traffic here, more than I expected. So as they come by me, I dart out of the way. It's a beautiful old house, a lot of stone, although that roof needs some work. Rod Serling, such an interesting character, one of the great writers, one of the great minds of our time. Here you have a guy who combined his street smart with being intellectual. He was a boxer. He was in the service during World War II. And of course, there are boxing stories and there are World War II combat stories in his series, The Twilight Zone. Now, his writing was already praised. He had done Requiem for a Heavyweight, Playhouse 90. He was already quite the writer before Twilight Zone came along, but CBS gave him the deal for Twilight Zone, and it was quite a remarkable show. It was a remarkable show. Not everybody has seen the hour-long episodes. I believe it was the fourth season when they tried an hour, and it didn't quite work. Even I haven't seen all of them, but before streaming, we used to have Twilight Zone marathons. That's how people would really catch up on it, usually on Thanksgiving. Anyway, Rod Serling was a brilliant mind. If you've seen him interviewed, he was of that breed that is hard to find these days. He was a writer who, like Gene Roddenberry, who created Star Trek, but who didn't really write for the series. Rod Serling wrote many of the series, even directed, I believe, some of them, but he was primarily a writer. And Serling was, an academic as well. He taught. He was a liberal. He was an East Coast guy. And he was You know, his family was persecuted in the Holocaust. He was Jewish. The Holocaust when the family was still in Europe. And Rod Serling wrote based on many of those experiences that he had, and he was really into, you know, social justice, and he was sort of not quite a social justice warrior for his day, but he was definitely, you know, like the left-wing liberal causes, humanitarian causes, and he worked these stories into the Twilight Zone. And he said things for 1959, 60, 61, where you had to sort of mask them and disguise them a little bit. You couldn't do it as easily saying it outright. Star Trek did that too, where they told stories about the Star Trek, the original series. So they told stories about racism, about you know, inequality, about war, about the evils of dictatorship, and socialism, and things like that, where people are oppressed, communism, but they masked it in a way of doing a fictional story. And Twilight Zone did likewise. Rod Serling, a brilliant writer, and yes, there were elements of paranormal, some horror, although more his next series, The Night Gallery, which he was less involved, was more horror. But Twilight Zone, I keep talking about Twilight Zone, so I should be talking about all of his career as a writer. But really, Twilight Zone to me was his magnum opus, the entire series, and the stories that, and so many shows have been based on that, since with the element of supernatural or an element always, in other words, always a morality tale. He was always telling a story. Rarely was a story just for quote unquote entertainment, and of course, no CG then, so CGI, so special effects were, you know, it was like a play. It was like a little play, and you needed your mind. You need to think. Good to think and to be entertained at the same time. Some people just want to be entertained. I like to entertain and think when I'm watching a picture. Primarily think. But, you know, if I want to be entertained, I'll just watch some CGI movie with explosions and car chases, but that's kind of rare. Anyway, so Rod Serling worked very, very hard. It's a nice little park in the middle of the street here. He worked very hard, and unfortunately for Rod Serling, he also smoked a zillion cigarettes a day, and he did not, unfortunately, live very long, because ultimately he did develop lung cancer, and he died, I don't believe he even made it to 60. But his brother went on speaking about him, and his wife went on talking about him as years went by. So Rod Serling, great man, a great writer. I'm a great fan of his, and it's down the street there, here in the Riviera Village, where, like I said, all the other people, some celebrities of today live. And that's it for now. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening. See, it's just cars and some landscape, guys. Very quiet, generally speaking, here during the week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening again. Please subscribe and like. If you do subscribe, please hit the little bell icon next to the subscription button. Then you'll be notified when I post. And please give the channel likes. That's how it moves forward. And yeah, I will see you guys at the next location. Thank you. Bye-bye. Let's close out on this beautiful Riviera Village area here. And the house is just past the roundabout there. Series of roundabouts. Okay, folks. Catch you next location. Bye-bye. Thanks.